What's going on there, folks? Good evening. Earthmaster here, checking in on the live stream on this Friday, June 18th, 2021, about 9:12 p.m. West Coast time here in California. Man, what a scorcher. We had 112 degrees again today. No relief in sight. No relief in sight, let me tell you. A 2.5 is the latest quake in the globe out here around the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico area. We can check specifics on that here on the USGS map as we zoom down here a little bit closer to Puerto Rico. Hard to tell on the Earthquake 3D globe. Quite a bit of movement, folks. This is what's scary to me here in the Puerto Rico area, is the amount of not tremor, but earthquake activity taking place around the Puerto Rico Trench. This is some scary stuff here. It's been happening for over the last 24 hours. Obviously, a mega quake is a potential for this region, and I've talked about it before. I've done a full video on the possibility and the dynamics of the Puerto Rico Trench area. This is not good. We've been seeing it, we've seen it, a week or so ago. Let's go ahead and check out 30 days. Let's go back here. All magnet, we can go 2.5 and above, and you can see all the earthquake activity in the Puerto Rico area, right? For one, Dominican Republic, a lot of buildup over in this area as well. But what scares me is the advancing movement of the earthquake activity. I can't call it swarming because it's about 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 earthquakes or so rapidly all at once. So it's not really a major swarm, but it's an increase in seismic activity along a major seismic hazard area. I don't think people understand the significance of the Puerto Rico Trench area and the capabilities of producing a significant large earthquake, which possibly could, no doubt, produce a major tsunami along the East Coast. That's right. That is a big possibility. I'm going to include, folks, and I'm sure a lot of my viewers have, but for the new subscribers and the viewers maybe that aren't subscribed, the end of this video I'm going to leave a link to the Puerto Rico Trench mega quake possibility video I did about a year ago. It explains more. I don't want to go and repeat myself time and time again, but the possibility is there, and when I see significant movement stretching up here towards the Puerto Rico Trench area, then my antennas go up. The older earthquake is the activity in the white. Okay, that's over the past month. Yellow is the past week, past day for the orange. Of course, nothing within the past hour. But you kind of see the progression of these quakes here in the white, and there was some within the last month within this area. But today, man, that is right smack dab in there, and that's kind of scary. The depth of these earthquakes here on a variable scale. This is a trench area. 129 kilometers for at least one of those earthquakes. If I seen this kicking up along the Cascadia subduction zone, and if I lived in Oregon, I would be packing my bags. But we don't 100% know if this is, a 4 quakes to a mega quake. It may continue and die down. It's a very sensitive area and very dynamic area when it comes to plate tectonics. But man, let me tell you, with the amount of earthquakes there, I would pay very close attention to this region. Dominican Republic, pretty quiet over the last 24 hours. Southwest part of Puerto Rico, fairly active in that area where we always tend to see earthquake activity. But this over here, right up here, man, stretching right up in the Puerto Rico Trench area. Quite a few 4s, quite a few 3s, and I'm sure many more. Even though this is the all magnitudes, I'm not seeing anything far as microquake activity going on there. So, and I'm sure there's a lot of earthquake activity taking place in the micro scale level. Be on guard, Puerto Rico. Like I say, if we get a mega quake around here, you're going to look at tsunami warnings going up along the east coast of the United States. No joke. And other areas, of course, across the Atlantic. Little odd earthquake up here near Morocco, 4.7 out there in the Alboran Sea, 10 kilometers below surface. Looking at historical seismic activity in this region, I can't recall the last time I seen an earthquake in this area. But since about 1900 or so, this is the catalog of earthquakes 4.5 and above. You can see that historical activity shows roughly between 5 and 6.0 magnitude quakes possible and happening within this region since about 1900. I seriously don't recall the last time I seen any type of earthquake activity in this region here. Kind of some odd activity. Of course, the Mediterranean Sea region, very active when it comes to seismic activity. A couple earthquakes south of or into Turkey area. Let's see what else we got here. Japan looking somewhat quiet. A couple quakes scattered about through Taiwan and down into south of the Philippines area. And also some movement within the last hour near the Kermadec Islands in New Zealand. And some deep. I'm talking deep. When we say deep, this is what we mean. 602 kilometers for a 4.5 earthquake near the Fiji Islands area. Just tremendous amount of deep earthquake activity. That's only one of three. Look at these. Three. I would call this one a deep one as well. We're seeing some major dynamic plate movement way down below, folks. That could cause, some bad news along the Pacific Plate. Southern California lighting up like crazy tonight. Thanks to Missy Mimi's for covering the earthquake activity earlier. I am going to include her initials, which is MM, when she does do a video. I've had quite a few people ask me about that, so I will include that whenever she does an update here on the channel. A lot of people love her knowledge of earthquakes and her update videos, so she's a part of the channel, but I will include her initials whenever she does an update. Salton Sea area. What's going on? Over the last hour, a little bit of seismic uptick in activity. Only about 21 earthquakes within this vicinity over the last 24, but over the last hour, we've seen kind of an increase there in the Salton Sea region. Kind of watching this area. This is a big player when it comes to movement along the west coast. Also, way in the mountains there near Warner Springs, the 2.1 striking off of the fault system of the Ellesnor fault system. Of course, you got the San Jacinto fault system over here. Pretty quiet until you move up here to the northern part of it. Down here along the border, some movement out there in the desert once again. 3.5, a little bit larger than what we've seen here in the past couple days. Some microquake activity taking place, but that 3.5 getting outside of the microquake level. Ridgecrest definitely seen a seismic increase, as Missy Mimi's had talked about earlier. A couple, we got 3.1 up there towards the north of the Owens Valley fault system up here. Pretty significant region when it comes to major earthquakes. Back there, 1872, they had a big one. Of course, up here around the Lone Pine Fault, this whole area is very complex, folks. You got a shear fault structure. You got the northwest to southeast fault plate boundary. It's a dangerous area, folks. I mean, there's so many more faults on this map that are not being shown. And the pressure, the dynamics, they're there for a major earthquake, not only along the San Andreas Fault, but I'm talking about the Garlock Fault area. We just haven't seen it yet. We only live, 80, 90 years, some of us lucky folks over 100. But that's very short time when it comes to plate tectonics throughout history. We're just living in a kind of a quiet time right now, but things could change rapidly. So you can see the seismic increase throughout the Ridgecrest area, paying close attention to that region. Also a line of activity. Check out this line of activity along the eastern crest of the Sierra Nevadas. That's kind of an obvious, right? An obvious image, if you will, of pressure in the region. The dynamics of the pressure here. Kind of looks like, I can't, not 100% sure if they're coming from the southwest, northeast, where. I'm not going to pull up the plate dynamic movement here, but You can see that right stretching there through the crest of the Sierra Nevadas there. Wide-scale pressure increase in this region. Stretching over into Nevada as well, a little swarming near Pyramid Lake. A couple small microquakes out there in the desert. Nothing in, let's see what Mount Lassen is. Mount Lassen's pretty quiet. I'm really surprised. But, you know, things could change on a blink of an eye. You never know. Small microquake about 20 miles south of Mount Lassen, but nothing to worry about there at the park at the moment. A little earthquake there near Palo Cedro, east of Redding, California, and some further movement along the coast range of Northern California. And of course, this area, folks, I don't mention it on every update because it's there every single day. And this is typical for geyser activity right there. If we start seeing 4s and 5s continuously there, I'm going to focus entirely on this region, let me tell you. But for now, a bunch of microquakes there taking place due to the thermal operations and whatnot there for power, human activity. One earthquake out here, right smack dab on the fracture area west of the Gorda Ridges, Gorda Escarpment down here. 10 kilometers for that 2.9, right smack in there, folks. Past few weeks, we've seen some swarming going on in this area, and up here to the north, this is the only earthquake so far within the last 24 hours. A little bit of line of activity along the crest of these mountains. You can see the crest of these mountains here showing heightened seismic activity. The Sierra Nevadas are huge, right, along the west coast. And this mountain range up here through Utah, huge as well. Stretches all the way from part of Idaho down into Nevada. You can see that right there. Very well defined. Idaho seen a little seismic increase. In fact, they've seen a pretty good size 3.9 north of the Sawtooth Fault System. That's this little area down here. Fault structure. This has been swarming for quite some time, ever since that larger quake struck last year. Can't remember the exact magnitude. Do not quote me. As far as, man, I'm losing my voice. Volcanoes here in the Cascades, Mount Hood. What's going on there at Mount Hood? A little bit of earthquake activity and kind of on a larger size. 2.0, 1.6. We were watching this area over the past week or so. Mount Rainier as well. We're going to check the seismic activity on the seismic scale here in a second. Some further movement around Mount Rainier. Rainier, however you want to pronounce it. And some movement up here along the creek or river. You got Chelan up there, is that it? Actually, I have a friend that lives up there. Beautiful area, but in that rain shadow of the mountains up here. So yeah, let's go ahead. Excuse me. 112 degrees today, folks. I'm lucky to be alive. Let me tell you, it's horrid. Do not come to California. And I kind of live out here around the orchards and the rice fields, so we don't have that super dry heat. It's kind of humid too. Tremor map. Check this out. First of all, 97 epicenters. We're seeing a seismic increase off the coast of Oregon here into the southern area of the Cascadia subduction zone. Most of the time we see it within this area. You can pretty much follow it. We can go back. Oh, let's go. We can go back. We got time, right? We got all the time in the world. Let's go ahead and add that little spell up here. This is just over the last week, couple weeks or so. Most of the activity is always along this line of the Cascadia subduction zone, not surface, roughly about 35 kilometers below surface into the subduction zone. And it always follows that. I can go back months and you will see a trail of tremor that always follows this path. Down dip, downstream, not at the surface, folks, not at Medford, underneath Medford, Eugene, Salem, up through Vancouver Island, underneath the ground. Not too often do we see stuff like this taking place further up towards the locked section. Very locked section sits off here, folks, the Cascadia. We got to pay very close attention to what's going on in the world seismically, the west coast and the Cascadia subduction zone here. This is very close to the surface the locked area, which sits right here. Not too often do we see that, so that's kind of why I'm pointing it out. We can go back. You want to go back? Let's go way back. Let's go back. We'll go back a couple months here, okay? Let me show you that it's not common. Let's see here. June. Probably gonna mess this up here. February, June 18th. There we go. So we're just going from February to today's date, and hopefully I don't crash my computer. Right? Loading. Bouncy. Oh, okay, never mind. I'm perfectly sane, folks. I just hope I didn't crash the system here. It's taken a very long time, and normally it won't, but it... Oh, man. Okay, hold on. Okay. So, anyway, there... I'm not losing my sanity. Please don't report me. There's all the movement, folks. You can see that line of activity there. And we have... Check this area out right here. We haven't seen too much there in southern Washington, or parts of Washington. But the activity off of this main line is an area to watch. These areas that are much closer to the locked area tells me that it's getting some pressure down there, and it's slipping a little bit more. You know, eventually this whole thing is going to slip, and that's what's going to happen. A mega quake's going to slip the entire area here. It's going to go down. It's going to do its thing. It's been a lot of pressure built up over here since 1700, since the last mega quake. And when this thing goes, it's going to be much better for it, right? For us, no. But for this seismic activity, this plate boundary, the subduction zone, it's going to feel a lot of relief over 320 years of pressure built up. But watch these little areas. It's something we don't see too often, folks. This here is kind of concerning. You can see the subduction area right about here. Subduction goes down, but the locked area, the locked section, sits right here, folks. I don't want to go on and on, but something worth noting this evening, right? Some great news. Not really. Let's check out Mount Hood, the seismic activity that I talked about there, the 2.0. You can see that kind of bubbling up there. I think the Cascade, obviously, the Cascadia subduction zone is a major player in the volcanoes across the Cascades, the Sierra Nevadas, right? When we see subduction, when we see tremor, we see potential for active volcanoes, tectonically and potentially volcanic, and magma related. I haven't looked at the seismographs of these yet, but there's quite a swarm taking place here south of Mount Hood summit, and it's a very, very short distance. Let's go ahead and check out some of the seismic activity on the graphs here. Let's see. So that kind of looks like, it's hard to tell. That doesn't look like localized earthquake activity. Let me check and see what happened yesterday. Now this is a little bit more not really sensitive. It is picking up some earthquake activity, but wow, nothing like I would expected here. Let's go back one more day here and see. This just doesn't look like your typical earthquake activity. And if you guys know, I've been watching this channel a lot, earthquake activity looks like this. Specifically, just like that. Sharp, spike, well-defined, localized earthquake. This one too. A couple of these little ones. But some of this other stuff could be because this station may be... Excuse me. I got hiccups. Not a good time to have hiccups. Could be because this activity is a little bit further away from the station itself. So let me go back here. But actually, it's really not. Right? Didn't I click on this one right here? It's pretty close. It's really close. Let's check this one up here and see what these guys are, what they have the sensitivity level set at. Okay. Ooh, yesterday's image is not found. That I really wanted to see that. I really did. Not for sure what's going on there. It's hard to tell. It could be interference. It could be sensitive equipment adjustment. But it lasted for quite a few hours there. But I really wanted to see yesterday's, and it's not there, surprisingly. So we're left with this little activity today, which is very similar to the other station that we looked at. There's maybe a localized earthquake right there, but some of these earthquakes are just flat, far as like the signature, and that's a sign of seismic activity either really deep or far away from the station. The depth of these earthquakes, this 2.0, is about 3.7 kilometers or 3.7 miles, 6 kilometers, which is somewhat deep. That could explain the seismograph reading. Let's see if this one picks up any of the localized earthquake activity at Mount Hood. Okay, there you can see a signature right there. This one's pretty squashed out though. Let's see what yesterday's. Okay, yesterday, check that out. That's a little bit better. And this one's farther away too. This station is a little bit farther away from the swarming that's going on there at Mount Hood. These are localized earthquakes. They do not look volcanic in nature. A lot of times when I can't find the activity or the seismograph data that I want from a specific station, I'll look around. Sometimes it takes looking at a couple stations to see what this activity looks like. And this is purely plate tectonic activity. I don't see any volcanic harmonic tremor, volcanic tremor in these here. They're definitely tectonic earthquakes. They're very localized, even though the station is a distance away from the swarm. So, moving on, folks. I don't want to make this an hour-long video, but it's Friday night, right? What else do I gotta do? Stay home underneath the air conditioner. I'm trying to stay cool. 112 is no joke. What was the other? Let's check out here. Let's see where the other earthquake activity was. It was Mount Hood and Rainier, right? Let's check that out here. Volcanic. Okay, so not as active here at this volcano, but still a little bit. Right smack dab at the summit. Pretty crazy activity. We'll go ahead and check this out. See if we can access this station. Looks like St. Andrews Rock at Mount Rainier, Washington. And of course, theirs is amped up so much you cannot decipher anything from that at all. Looks like a 2-year-old with a crayon, right? Look at that. That's some awesome artwork there. I wonder why it's like that. It's not good. Can't really tell what's going on there, folks. It's a mess. Did you guys hear about the explosion? Can't remember which service did this, but it was a 3.9 registering off the coast of Florida. An experimental explosion. A couple people reported feeling the blast around the area. There was a lot more than that. Cocoa, Florida, St. John's, Florida. I read on a news article, but kind of interesting, right? 3.9 seismic reading off the coast of Florida. 170 kilometers off the coast, east-northeast. Ponce Inlet, Florida. It's a pretty good explosion. That's a pretty good magnitude for an explosion. Interesting there. There's quite a few articles floating around on social media about it. What else we got here, folks? Yellowstone National Park here. There was the 3.9 earthquake and some activity occurring in Idaho showing up on the stations here in the Yellowstone area. That's going to be these earthquakes right here. Of course, Wyoming, Idaho, somewhat close speaking, right? Walking distance, probably not, but tectonically speaking, yes, really close, like a next door neighbor. As far as seismic activity locally in the Yellowstone National Park, very, very quiet still, folks. All right, one more check of the USGS here. Let's make sure everything's working. What's going on here? Everything's slowing down all of a sudden. Are we still live? What's going on, USGS? They blocking me? Let's check out the Caltech website. Caltech works. What's going on with the USGS? Are they don't want me accessing their information. Check it out, it's buffering. I got well over a gigabyte internet speed on here. You can access Caltech, Yellowstone seismographs, but something going on with the USGS there. Thanks guys, I appreciate it. That's alright. That's alright, we'll close you out and focus here on the Caltech website instead. What do you think about that? Still some movement down there, folks. We'll check this out. Keep an eye on this area along the west coast. Some strange stuff going on, folks, between my computer resetting twice in one day remotely. You know, it's odd. Some weird activity going on with quite a few users and getting information out here. So what else can I do? I can take a hammer to my computer and pout like a little kid, but that's not going to happen. I'm just going to roll with the punches and restart it every single time it goes down. Every single time. 3.0, latest quake up here in Alaska. Just be on guard, folks. Puerto Rico area looking pretty active, kind of scary. All right, check out this link. You'll see it right now with the updated or with the video link here on the end of this video. Have a good night, folks. Stay safe.